Hello, everyone, and welcome to this course on daily mindfulness for stress reduction. As we all know, stress plays a major factor in our lives, and to be able to manage it is a good skill to have in order for a more fulfilling life and lifestyle. So, stress is something that should only be short term for us. It gears us up to do work or to get something done. But for the long term, it is where the problems start coming in. Our bodies need a balance between rest, relaxation, and calmness and stress. Okay, so as we move forward in society, we can see that stress is becoming more and more prevalent in our lives. Right? This, of course, is not a good thing. The reason it is not a good thing is because we are now lacking the balance of rest and relaxation with stress. Stress has become the dominant factor from the moment we wake up until the moment we sleep. There are many things that can cause us stress, even if we are unaware of it. These things can be in terms of our careers, professional life, family, relationships, societal, and environmental. The more we can be aware of what is causing us stress, the more chance we give ourselves to control it and reduce it. This is where daily mindfulness comes in. In order for us to truly be aware and to control and reduce our stress, we need to be aware of it and what causes it. This is what the course will go through. Daily mindfulness to help us identify, accept, and control in order to reduce our stress levels. Okay, so now we're going to speak about daily mindfulness to reduce stress. Now, daily mindfulness is key in order for us to be a little bit more aware of ourselves and our mental patterns in our daily lives, which can have a massive play in having stress put on us or stress relieved from us. Now, because sometimes the greatest lessons are found within the smallest events. Right? When we go through our daily lives, how much attention do we put into our lives? The small moments that go past with our families, friends, and colleagues. Right? We need to ask ourselves, when we are in these small daily encounters, are we resisting them or are we accepting them? Once we are able to truthfully answer this question, we can realize if we are putting stress on ourselves or if we are relieving it from ourselves. It is in these moments that we can truly see ourselves and how we are mentally. It is in these moments that we can truly learn about ourselves. If we are resisting our daily encounters, we are unhappy, or we resist or resent the people or situations that happen to us, we are putting ourselves in a state of stress and no one else. We are actively choosing to put ourselves only in a state of stress. Many encounters we go through in our daily lives, we have no control of. I'm sure we've all heard of the quote, we can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we react. And it is in how we react that is the most important thing. If we choose to hold resentment in our hearts, we are only hurting ourselves. The situation is already over, but we are forcing ourselves to still live within that situation because we are resisting and holding on. And so our minds keep racing. We put ourselves in a state of fight or flight, even though everything is already over, everything is calm. So, what are we fighting or flying from exactly? Can we see how we are causing ourselves a lot of unnecessary stress? The situation around us can be in a state of calm, but we are the only ones that are in the state of stress because we have put ourselves in that situation. That is the power of our minds. It can also go the other way. When the situation is chaotic, do we have the ability to remain calm and see the situation for what it is, not how we ourselves painted the situation in our own perceptions? When we don't let go, when we resist, we force ourselves to live with the burden in our hearts. We keep ourselves in a state of unease and therefore we stress about how we can manage this unease. There is a great quote by Carrie Fisher and it goes like this: resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. When we are unaware of ourselves and how we are reacting, we are letting the external circumstances and conditions control our inner state. When we resent whatever happened or whoever did something, we are the ones who are being poisoned. Our resentment and non acceptance does not affect anyone else or anything else, it is only affecting us. This is how a lack of daily mindfulness can burden us or can be a burden to ourselves and our own stress levels. Right? So this is why it's very important to adopt daily mindfulness so we can understand how we ourselves react internally, and that's when change can start. On the other hand, if we choose to accept it, accept the situations and the things that happen in our daily lives, then our whole story changes. In order to truly feel peace and relaxation, we must accept what goes on around us. There is a lesson in everything for us. The thing is, we need to accept the situation in order for us to truly embrace and learn the lesson. That does not mean we should tolerate everything, right? If things need attention, give it attention. If it can be fixed, fix it. but go through this process with a mindset that there are many things that we do not have control over. Right? We have less control than we think, and surrendering that power that we never had in the first place is very important to relieving so much of the stress that we face today. Daily mindfulness is about being aware of what happens around us, and more importantly, being aware of how we react and how we feel when these things arise. It is about understanding that there is so much that is out of our control, and more importantly, it is being okay with that. It is about accepting the circumstances we are in and learning from them. Everything we encounter in our daily lives can be a lesson in disguise. We just need to have the awareness to see it. The first slide we saw on this daily encounter section was sometimes the greatest lessons are found within the smallest events. Instead of trying to put blame on somebody, accept the fact that we don't know the full story behind their actions. There is a lifetime of experiences they have went through that we are unaware of. Capacity for knowledge is massive, but the actual knowledge that we have is very small. So everything we are judging is taking place on a pinhead. How is that fair on the person we are judging? Right? This doesn't mean that their actions are not wrong. This also doesn't mean that the other person shouldn't be punished. But the thing is that we should not hold hatred or resentment in our hearts, because our resentment and hatred does not hurt them at all. It does not punish them, only us. This is about us. Daily mindfulness and reducing our stress is first and foremost an individual thing. It would be a mistake for us not to pay attention in our daily matters, as every moment in our lives can serve as a teaching moment. Changes, lessons, and realizations come in different ways, ways in which we would have never imagined. As ordinary as our lives may seem to the eye, if we pay more attention, we would see that every day is filled with moments that flicker by. These moments are when, if we choose to open ourselves up to them, we can learn to open our hearts and minds to be more aware and understanding of ourselves and others, and to reflect upon our thoughts. Resistance equals stress, and acceptance equals peace. Long-term stress only comes when we constantly resist and go against something. Stress leaves us when we accept and go with what we have no control over. Work with it instead of against it, and you will find it easier to come up with solutions. That is what daily mindfulness is about. It is first and foremost an individual task to have daily mindfulness so we can be more aware of how we act and react in the daily encounters that we live through. Okay, that is what daily mindfulness is about. Okay, now I want to talk about self-reflection, because self-reflection is a major part when we talk about daily mindfulness and being aware or bringing awareness to our inner state and and what happens outside of us. All right, so self-reflection is the beginning of all inner peace and growth. All right, so one of the most important parts of daily mindfulness is self-reflection. And the biggest thing we should reflect on is how we are during our daily encounters, specifically as stated above, if we are resisting or accepting. One of the things we can be aware and reflect on when situations arise is whether or not we are reacting or responding. Right? There is a huge difference between reacting and responding, and the one we choose will ultimately lead to whether or not we resist or accept. Okay, so let's see what the difference is. Okay, a reaction is a subconscious reaction. It is instinctual, right? It is more like autopilot, and there is not much thought that is put into it, if any at all. All right, so when we react, we don't think about the implications of what we do or what we say. We just act on the impulse we are feeling at that time. Now, this can obviously lead to other issues and disagreements which can cause stress on us physically or mentally. Now, let's look at what a response is. A response is more thoughtful. It is done with conscious effort and takes situational awareness. Right? When we respond, we think first about the possible outcomes before saying or acting. All right? We consider what is best for ourselves and others before we do anything. Right? This is a good way to stop any sort of conflict or anything that can cause physical or mental stress. The key here is to stay calm, which is the opposite of stress. Before we react, have a small pause and think whether or not this is a good idea for us. That small pause is all we need for some awareness that can be the difference between reacting or responding, resisting or accepting. So the question we should ask ourselves is, would we rather be the person who creates calm and peace, or an unpredictable person that reacts on impulse and causes disruption? It is up to us and us only. If we choose to respond, we may feel like we are losing, but that is just our ego talking. There is nothing better than long-term peace and calm. So if the ego rises and tells us that we are losing, just know that when it's all over, we can return to calm and peace. and that is the ultimate victory. All right, that is what self-reflection is all about. It is about reflecting on oneself and how we have reacted. Yeah, so we can understand truly at our core what triggers us and what triggers the stress. If we do not self-reflect, if we never self-reflect, then we can never really understand how we work as human beings individually. All right, so self-reflection is key in terms of improving our daily mindfulness, in terms of reducing the stress that is in our daily lives. There can be so much more that can be said on this topic, and I'm sure there are others out there that can spread this message far better than I can. But the main point I hope we can all receive is to start to pay more attention to our daily lives, pay more attention to the situations we encounter and how we react. Stress is a major factor for health issues, so it would be wise to try and reduce it. The simplest way we can start to reduce our stress is through daily mindfulness of what goes on around us and what goes on inside us. Thank you all for putting time into my course. I really hope you have gotten something out of it.